What's up, farmer family? How y'all doing today? Today, we are reacting to a line of paddles from Gherkin. This is their budget paddle. It is the Aspire, the Solace, and the Aegis. There's a wide body, a hybrid, and an elongated shape. All three of them have their own play style. Obviously, they're different shapes, so it makes sense. I do have a discount code with this company. If you use the code FARMER at checkout, you'll get these paddles for $89.99 a piece. But yeah, let's get into these reviews, y'all. I hope you've been doing good. When it comes to the Aspire, aka the elongated paddle in terms of pop, I would put this right in the middle of the road. You're going to notice something that keeps happening and reoccurring in the middle of the video. I'm going to sound straight up like a parrot. But yeah, it is middle of the road. It is very similar in pop compared to the Groovin' Movin' 16X. When I reviewed it, it was very middle of the road-ish too as well, and this paddle pop-wise plays exactly identical to it. Now, when it comes to the wide body, aka the Aegis, essentially it has slightly more pop than the Volair Forza Mach 2 and the Pickleball Hurricane Pro. Slightly more, but it's not going to be poppy or anything like the ESQ from Paddle Tech or anything like that. Just a tad bit more pop than you're currently going to be getting with the Volair or the Pickle paddle that I just mentioned. Now, when it comes to the Solace, aka the hybrid, if I were to classify this in terms of pop, I would put this near the Volair Forza Mach 1. Okay, the Volair Forza Mach 1, whenever I came out with it, was sort of one of the more plush paddles, it came to the market in terms of Gen 2. But there have been several other paddles that have came out that are a little more plush than it, which would right now I'd make the Forza Mach 1 a middle-of-the-road paddle, and guess what I'm going to say with this hybrid too? It's literally like that all the way across the board when it comes to everything with these paddles realistically. So when it comes to the Aspire in terms of power, much like the Pop, the plow through and everything felt literally identical to the Groovin' Movin' 16X. There's literally no difference whenever I played with both the paddles. They felt basically identical in terms of pop and power. And then when it comes to the Aegis, essentially what you're getting is a little more power than what you would get with the Apollo. You're not going to get the Rhombus R2 FX power or anything like that, but you're also not going to get the Volair Forza Mach 2, weak power either. It's middle of the road again. Now, when it comes to the Solace, I would say, just like I did with the Pop, it is very, very close to the Volair Mach 1 Forza or Forza Mach 1. The Volair Forza Mach 1 might have slightly more power, but if I were to compare them, realistically, they're so close, I would be splitting hairs. So when it comes to the control, the Aspire is going to be pretty controllable. It's not going to be the most controllable paddle on the market or anything like that, but it's also not going to cause you to do a lot of crazy pop-ups and make mistakes that you're going to make with these Gen 3 paddles. This paddle is essentially a carbon copy of the Groovin' Movin' 16X. Control-wise, pop-wise, and power-wise, it plays basically identical. And when it comes to the Solace, I'm going to say the same thing. This literally feels like an exact carbon copy of the Forza Mach 1 from Volair. Straight up. And when it comes to the Aegis, this paddle is not going to be as controllable as the Volair Forza Mach 2 or the Pickleball Hurricane Pro, but it is definitely going to be more controllable than some of the other paddles that are currently on the market in terms of basically the Gen 3 ripples and stuff like that. But face-wise, I would compare this very, very close to the R2 FX. That would be the one that I would compare it the closest to in terms of control realistically. Alright, so when it came to the spin of these paddles, the Aspire got 1903 RPMs, the Solace got 1892 RPMs, and the Aegis got 1929 RPMs. Essentially, when it comes to these RPM numbers, these are right there with all the other, or most of the raw carbon fiber, Kevlar, titanium style paddles. If you've played with one of them, this is going to be fine in terms of spin. All three of these are going to be fine in terms of spin, but I do seem to get a little more spin when I'm playing with a wide body paddle compared to the other shapes. So when it came to the swing weights of these paddles, the Aspire had 117 for the swing weight, the Solace had 112, and the Aegis had 111. So my Aspire had the same exact swing weight as my Groovin' Laser 16X. And the hybrid, aka the Solace, ended up with one of the lower swing weights in terms of hybrid paddles that I've tested so far. I think there's one or two that are right there with it. But then the wide body tested literally right in line with every other wide body that's on the market. So in terms of swing weights, if you're using elongated, this elongated will be fine. If you're using a hybrid, the hybrid will be fine. If you're using a wide body, the wide body will be fine. None of these are going to be overbearing or over heavy for you if you're used to that specific paddle shape. And the overall weight of these paddles, all three of them came in perfectly at 8 ounces, which is weird because that never happens. And when it came to the twist weight, the Aspire, aka the elongated, had a 6.27. The Solace, which is the hybrid, had a 6.23. And the Aegis, which is the wide body, which is 6.87. The one that really surprised me here was the hybrid shape paddles twist weight. It had a lower twist weight than the elongated paddle that I tested, which was very, very weird to me. I don't think I've seen that happen, like, period, in all the pickleball paddles that I've tested. But in terms of the elongated and the wide body, they fall right in line with everything else in their category. The hybrid shape is a little below average compared to some of the other paddles, which was a little mind-boggling to me considering the elongated one was a higher twist weight. But yeah, in terms of sweet spots, the elongated, aka the Solace, is extremely, extremely close to the Groove and Moving 16X. Guess what? I keep saying that. The sweet spot is average at best, and when it comes to the sweet spot for an elongated paddle. Now, when it comes to the hybrid, I feel like the hybrid sweet spot was a little bit smaller than the Volair Forza Mach 1, so I would definitely add a little bit of lead tape to bump that up to 116, 117 swing weight, and that would definitely increase the sweet spot some. Now, when it comes to the Aegis, I feel like the sweet spot was on point. Most of these Gen 2 wide body paddles have crazy good sweet spots. This is no different. But yeah, when it comes to value for your money, these are $90 paddles. Crazy. All these other companies a year and a half ago, were dropping $100 Gen 2 paddles, and we were all getting really stoked about it. We're like, man, these are budget friendly. Anybody can get these and play with these for, 6 months to 9 months, depending on how often you play, or less if you're playing like crazy. But $90 for a Gen 2 paddle is unheard of, especially for the paddles that these are essentially clones of. The wide body isn't even technically a clone of anything. It is like a mushed together version of several paddles. But the hybrid is very similar to the Forza Mach 1, and the elongated is very similar to the Groove and Moving 16X. If you played with either one of those and you want something a little bit cheaper, you might hop on this train right here, the Gherkin train. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. Until next time, stay safe, have a good day, drink plenty of water, drink electrolytes, make sure you're eating plenty. You don't go out there in that pickleball court and start cramping up or start starving, getting low sugar. But yeah, have a good day, y'all.